just returned from a week in Lisbon, and it truly lives up to its name in the Street Photography Hall of Fame. Visiting any new place or city comes with its own sense of wonder and newfound inspiration, but I haven't felt anything since I started taking photos like the magic of Lisbon. I produced some of my best work to date in this week and pretty much didn't put the camera down. Every street, bus ride, market and walk around the block had pictures worth taking, and it definitely inspired me to push my usual style into new territories. Unlike usual trips, I did quite a lot of research and planning for this one because I knew I'd have the time to fully explore the city and wanted some specific results. I created a mood board by pinning and saving photos in the style that I wanted to create. Lots of high contrast silhouettes, use of bright areas and shadows and deep rich colours. I also wanted to make texture a key component of the work I produced in Lisbon so that you could almost feel the photos between your fingers. I think that setting these goals and working within the confines of a particular style really helped me to see things I otherwise might not have seen and produce work that feels fresh and new to me. Of course, there's only so much you can prepare with street photography and you can't set things up, so it's more about retraining your eye to pick up on things that connect with your ideas or your vision. Visiting markets, anywhere really, is such a good way to get the cogs in motion and warm up for a day of street photography. So many moments to capture, but sometimes it's hard to make sense of all the chaos. This was under the bright midday sun, so lots of high contrast light and shadow areas. That's what I was leaning into at this market. After the market, we headed into central Lisbon and started to get our bearings. Sardines are a big part of the culture there, so we stopped in this sardine shop, which just happened to match all of the colours in our fama. There was just so much life happening around. A couple hanging out the window above a restaurant with some nice colour harmony, this guy, and some more deep shadows. In the evening we turned the corner to this, the San Antonio Festival in Alfama, celebrating St. Anthony. This was one of my favourites from the trip. The next day we headed into the centre to do a walking tour. We always do these tours, it's a great way to learn some history and some culture, but I also find it good for photography. It's often the walks in between stops where I find the most interesting images. Purple seemed to be like quite a prominent colour in Lisbon, so I was drawn to things like the floor tiling and the leaves on these trees. As the walking tour was nearing the end and we ventured more into the centre of Lisbon, I was drawn more to the people, like this moment here or these girls playing with bubbles. We had to stop here for a pastel de nata. I queued for probably 30 minutes or so just to see what the buzz was all about, and to be fair, it was worth it. Though I did accidentally overload it with cinnamon and ended up inadvertently doing the cinnamon challenge. Heading back to our apartment, we were treated to some really lovely golden light. The sunsets are absolutely beautiful in Lisbon, and you get a really nice blue hour as well. On day 3 I loaded up some 35mm. I was reluctant to do it sooner because I've been having problems with the film camera recently, with a couple of blank rolls, but luckily it pulled through. I shot 2 rolls in Lisbon, Kodak Gold and Colour Plus. Later that evening I explored the local neighbourhood a bit more where we were staying, Alfama. This was a regular, relatively quiet midweek evening, so a good chance to see how life is really lived in Lisbon. I was particularly drawn to the birds that evening for some reason. The next day we were on the move to catch the ferry to Almada, which is just across from Lisbon. We were in search of a garden area that I'd seen before, a really peaceful looking place where you could just sit and chill for a few hours. The place was called River Garden, and it was a bit of a trek to get there. There was a lift down to the front, though it looked quite sketchy from above, so we went the long way round. The garden only had a few visitors at the time, but the vibe was all there. Complete serenity with only the sound of the small waves touching the shoreline. We took the ferry back to Lisbon later on and stopped by the waterfront to catch another one of my favourite images from the trip. Something I have to remind myself to do sometimes is slow down and just stop walking. Find a spot and spend some time properly exploring it. We stopped in a square on our last day when something just clicked. Sometimes a whole day worth of street photography moments can happen in 10 minutes, which is what happened here. If you're a street photographer looking for some inspiration, perhaps bored of shooting the same place over and over like I have been, I'd highly recommend visiting Lisbon. This trip pushed me in new directions, connected me with my camera again, and reminded me why I love doing this. I hope this video has been helpful and maybe provided some insight as to what it's like to shoot the streets of Lisbon. Thanks for watching, please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you soon.